Hello and welcome back to Sports Plaza. We are back again with another video. We had a very interesting games in our hand as Gujarat Titans were taking against the Lucknow Super Giants, the top two position holders, and we thought we were going to have an interesting match. So was not the case as Gujarat Titans thrashed Lucknow Super Giants by 62 runs. Welcome Pranav to the show today. How much were you looking forward to this game, and how disappointed are you in the way it turned out and how Lucknow Super Giants have performed today?
सी द टू न्यू कमर्स लखनऊ एंड गुजरात दोनों से एक्सपेक्टेशंस आई थी एक काफ़ी क्लोज गेम की उम्मीद थी गिवन दैट दोनों ही टॉप टू हैं टेबल में एंड ऑफ लेट बहुत अच्छा खेलते हुए आ रही हैं पर क्या किया इधर लखनऊ ने समझ नहीं आया इधर चॉपिंग एंड काटे जा रहे हैं ये नया मिडल ऑर्डर ले आते हैं हर मैच में थोड़ा तो मुश्किल हो जाएगा ऐसे आगे बढ़ना
See, I think the first question, obviously, let's start with the way the match turned out. So let's look at the Gujarat Titans batting. Actually, the total that they ended up getting was not what you think is a very big score. In recently, what we've seen in terms of these tracks, which are more batting friendly, so restricting them to 144, I think Lucknow would have been happy at the break. They would have been happy and they would be confident in the way their batting lineup is, how strong their batting lineup is, and how deep they bat. 144 was a really normal target, I think so. And that goes to the bowling attack that Gujarat has shown up. How happy are you with the likes of Mohsin Khan and Avesh? Because this is the Indian Pacers doing really well in this year's IPL. How happy are you with the performance of these two specifically?
see both of them are giving a good headache to the Indian selectors where they're going to I was just reading one of the facts that Mohsin Khan has only gone for two sixes in the 120 plus balls that he has bowled in this tournament and it's not easy to play the way he's bowling. But having said that, Lucknow did not play them well. You see how शुभमान गिल उन्होंने कैसे अपनी एप्लीकेशन लगाई बैट से एंड वो टिके रहे लास्ट तक पता था कि शायद 160 से ज़्यादा का टारगेट इस पे चेस करना मुश्किल हो जाएगा पर वो डटे रहे आप केएल राहुल को देखो आप डिकॉक को देखो वो जैसे जैसे स्टार्ट दिया जैसे वो रहे उसके बाद मिडिल ऑर्डर तो लखनऊ का आया राम गहर राम हो गया था तो it should have been more competitive but pretty good bowling Mohsin Khan domestic circuit में अच्छा करते आए हैं but now is getting the credit he deserves.
जी बिल्कुल एंड आई थिंक आपने मेंशन किया शुभम गिल के बारे में अ वेरी वेल मेड इनिंग्स जैसा आपने बोला आई थिंक ही न्यू कि शायद इट्स नॉट ट्रैक वेयर 170 और 180 इज नीडेड वो जानते थे कि ट्रैक स्लो हो गया है तो एक एंड को होल्ड करके रख रहे थे वो जानते थे कि दूसरी तरफ से बैट्समैन आके रन बना सकते हैं जल्दी एंड आई थिंक वो ज़रूरी था द काइंड ऑफ पिच जैसी थी आज बॉल स्लो रह रहा था एंड स्पिनर्स को असिस्टेंस मिल रही थी तो गिल की आई मीन ही इज मैच्योरिंग एज अ बैट्समैन हमने देखा कि स्टार्टिंग ऑफ सीजन में थोड़े रन नहीं बन रहे थे बट नाउ एट एक्चुअली द मोर इंपॉर्टेंट पार्ट ऑफ द टूर्नामेंट even though Gujarat is already doing well and they're at the top of the table, it's important for them that he also gets some runs moving into those knockout games. So how happy are you with Shubham Gill's batting today?
Shubman Gill always has this accusation against his name that he plays very slow, right? But on such tracks, players like KL Rahul, Shubman Gill, they tend to shine, right? Today, KL Rahul has uh, have had a poor day with the bat, but if you look at how he applies, or Shubman Gill, right, or players of these more technical players, if I may say. So these players, they have done well on slower tracks, right? तो कई बार वो अच्छे ट्रैक्स पे भी स्लो खेल जाते हैं वो एक चैलेंज रहता है बट फुल मार्क्स फॉर हिम असेसिंग द ट्रैक असेसिंग द कंडीशन स्टेइंग देयर टिल द एंड अगर आप देखो 18th 19th 20th ओवर में भी लखनऊ के बॉलर्स cutters he मार रहे थे and it was very difficult for Tewatia and Shubman to actually hit those balls, right? So just staying there. In fact, they got what 16 or 18 runs in the last over, right? So that also made a difference. So full marks to him.
Certainly, and I think it will be important for Gujarat that Shubman Gill continues to score runs. I think he has to take that pressure off some for someone like Hardik to actually come good in that fight. Otherwise, if the openers are getting out early, then it comes down to Hardik where he's kind of playing that role where he anchors the innings and he has Miller or Tiwatia to come after him to kind of get those runs for the team. Moving on to what happened with the LSG batting. Uh, we have talked about how the batting of Lucknow Super Giants is very deep. They have Holder coming in at 7 probably, and he's a proper bat. And then with the likes of Stoinis and Krunal Pandya, all rounders, and Holder himself, the batting becomes very deep. And obviously, Quinton de Kock and KL Rahul are the ones at the top that are consistently scoring runs for Lucknow Super Giants. Huda has done well for them. But today, somewhere we saw that once those two opening batsmen get out, there is that inexperience in the middle. We saw a lot of players when the required run rate was not very high. They needed about 8 runs in over, 7 runs in over. There was no scoreboard pressure at any point of time, even when the wickets fell. Even when there were 4 wickets down, there was no need to kind of attack the bowlers. They could have tried to play out Rashid Khan, probably, not get runs off him. But we saw the inexperience with batsmen trying to step out or hit the ball across the line. So there is that inexperience with the Lucknow Super Giants middle order. What are your thoughts about that and how they can improve on it? Because this is the time where they want to win the games and move on to that qualifying rounds.
See, when you think of the middle order that Lucknow has, you have Deepak Huda, Karan Sharma, Krunal Pandya. I think he batted at 5. I'm not sure these are 3, 4, 5 players for any team, right? Probably they could be 5, 6, 7. And why they're not using Marcus Stoinis up the order? If you talk about Big Bash, he has never batted lower than 3 or 4 his in the Big Bash, right? Delhi also used him as an opener, as a one down player, and he did fairly well. अब उसको क्यों यूज नहीं कर रहे हैं? एक मैच में वो नंबर 8 पर आए हैं, वो मैच भी ये हारे थे। एक मैच में ये आज नंबर 6-7 पे खेल रहे हैं, राइट? तो आप जब इन प्लेयर्स को चांस नहीं दोगे जहाँ पे उनकी पोजीशन है, करण शर्मा के आपने ऊपर 2 विकेट गिरे, आपने उनको प्रेशर में डाल दिया उनके पहले ही गेम में, राइट? तो ये डिफिकल्ट हो जाएगा फॉर एनी टीम. You see any successful team when they're on a championship winning campaign, they never uh, tinker with their order too much, right? Even if they're not performing, but what they are doing, even with Gujarat, if you see, they were playing Sai Sudarshan. Now they've brought in Matthew Wade. Again, Wade did not perform. Now are you going to go back to some Indian player again? So these are some of the changes I'm not able to understand. But yes, Marcus Stoinis definitely should bat up the order.
Certainly, I think Lucknow needs to figure this out, this combination out, because they keep promoting players. Obviously, they have the likes of Badoni and Krunal Pandya and then Jason Holder probably to kind of move on to those finishing roles, and maybe they can use Stoinis at the top of the order, just in case if they have, if KL Rahul or Quinton de Kock gets out, to just have slightly more experience probably in the batting lineup for someone to hold his ground in the middle order. Something like how Delhi gets Mitchell Marsh at 3 probably, because he's somewhere similar to Mitchell Marsh, a more destructive batsman probably, I would say, but has can play that similar role that Delhi lets Mitchell Marsh play.
They're missing out on Manish Pandey. Had he been in form, he would have been, an automatic fit for number 3.
But then he has not
But
been informed for a
so he's not
while.
been in form. So yeah, now they're looking for someone to fill in that space.
Certainly. Moving on to one of the things that we already know, we know how good the GT bowling lineup is. Gujarat has probably, if not the best, then one of the best bowling lineups in this year's IPL. And who better to talk about than Mohammad Shami, who's been brilliant in the power plays, and obviously Rashid Khan. Rashid has not been getting wickets, had not been getting wickets initially, but with this track slowing down, I think we will see a lot more of him and the other spinners getting wickets. So, what are your thoughts about the bowling line of Gujarat Titans, and do you see them, changing anything now, even when they have now qualified essentially for the playoffs?
Certainly, they're going to bring back Lockie Ferguson, even though he has gone for runs in a couple of matches. But I see Wade going out and Lockie Ferguson coming back in. But yeah, coming back to Shami, I would say the way he was bowling proper, test match cricket, line and length, right? And credit to Hardik Pandya for actually sticking with him for the third over where he got the wicket, a very important wicket at that. But after 2 overs, it could have been tempting to probably bring in maybe Alzari Joseph, for example, right? But he stuck with him, went ahead with that third over, and it paid off. So, yeah. And even we talk about Yash Dayal. He did go for runs, but he also did pick up two important wickets. So, uh, well played, I would say, Hardik Pandya in that specific scenario.
Yeah, I think with Gujarat, you also see that irrespective of who they're getting in, who they are changing, it sometimes happens with the teams that are already doing well that every time they get in someone new, they'll get you those. We saw Sai Kishore bowling today, and then he came out of the blue and he was bowling proper length. And I mean, he's not a part-time spinner. The way he was bowling today, he was getting the ball to turn, and he's like a proper option for Gujarat now. Probably their sixth bowling option that they can get, and he will be able to, as the wicket slows down, he can actually be even better as a spinner for them. So we are now seeing Gujarat. They have already qualified for the playoffs, which probably gives them that opportunity to maybe try a few other players who are on the bench, test their bench strength, and whatever issues they have in that batting order, or like you mentioned, probably Lockie Ferguson didn't come back in. We might not see Wade again getting another opportunity, but what are your thoughts about some of the changes that Gujarat can do, or if you think there are any changes required on this team, because they do have two more games to play, and they might want to rest some players. I think Hardik seemed off after that bowling that first over. So do you see probably Hardik not bowling in the next few games, or them trying to try some new players out?
See, left arm spinners, first of all, are always likable. So, no doubt about that. So, other than that, I don't see many changes. As I said, Ferguson would be coming back. Probably another Indian batsman will be fitting in higher up the order in place of Wade. Hardik, I don't think will be bowling in the next couple of matches. Semi-final keep himself for the playoffs and thereon. I don't see many changes to this order. I hope not, because teams have actually paid the price. In Delhi, in one of the editions, suddenly dropped Morne Morkel back in, I think, 2016, right?
Yeah.
And they lost that campaign from there on. So I hope they are not thinking on those lines. जैसा चल रहा है चलने दो. Yeah.
Certainly. And what about? I think one important question is, and we've already talked about this previously, is how dependent the Lucknow Super Giants are on KL Rahul getting runs. We have seen this issue with the teams that KL Rahul plays with. Before this, it was Punjab. KL Rahul was the only batsman who was somehow getting runs for them, and the team like dependent on him to kind of either chase totals or get them to that big score where the bowlers are able to defend a bigger target as compared to the other games. So, and he has gotten runs. KL Rahul has done well again this season. He's gotten those runs, but it's important for someone like Quentin de Kock to get a few 50s. Maybe Huda has done well, and then players in the lower down the order, because you just can't expect one batsman to get all the runs and for the team to kind of win, especially when it comes to the knockout games the next few games.
See, this is a template for all the teams. If your top three are scoring runs, you will do well. You see Chennai, for example. If Ruturaj or Conway are not scoring runs, you're nowhere in the game. You talk about Duplessis for Bangalore, right? So if your top order is clicking, you will do automatically well. So it's not just about KL Rahul, but overall as openers, right? Mumbai is not doing too well with their openers, so they're not doing, not nowhere in the table. So Rahul is important, but yes, rightly said, as are the two other players. And Huda has been delivering. He has not got out in a single digit score throughout this season, right?
Correct.
So he's been doing well. It's up to maybe Rahul and De Kock to actually get that momentum and take it to the playoffs.
Surely. Thank you so much, Pranav, for joining us today. And Gujarat has finally qualified, has become the first team to qualify for IPL 2020 playoffs, 2022 playoffs, sorry. And we'll come back again with another video tomorrow featuring the next set of games. And we'll keep subscribing to Sports Taza. Do watch, and we'll be back tomorrow. Thank you.